Good day, everyone. My name is Arslan, and the topic we have for today are what are some common thumb rules which every civil engineer must remember and must keep in mind during construction regarding to aggregates, right? So aggregate is a major component of construction, and it's used everywhere from making concrete to making the foundation to everything. So aggregate being a major component, we have to make sure that proper rules are followed and they're used according to what the standards have to say. This is an infographic sort of a document which I've prepared, and it's all based on IS 456 2000. So these are three pictures of aggregates. First one says that aggregates are coarse, fine, medium, fine particles used in construction. There are three types of aggregates: the coarse, the medium, and the fine. And at number two, it says that generally aggregates should not contain more than 0.5% of sulfates mentioned in ASSO3, right? So aggregates must not contain sulfates, not in fact not even more than 0.5%, which is already too less. So at number three, it says that aggregates should not absorb more than 10% of their own mass of water. So for example, if you place them in a bucket of water for 24 hours, the next day the water absorbed should not be more than 10% of their own mass. At number four, it says that the maximum size of coarse aggregates should be within the limits specified, but in no case greater than 1/4 of the minimum thickness of the member. So for example, if we have a column of 9 inches by 9 inches, 1/4 of 9 inch would be around 2.25 inches. It means that the maximum size of the coarse aggregate should not be more than 2.25 inches, all right, which is 1/4 of the minimum thickness of the member. So not more than 2.5 inches. And at number five, it says that for most works, 20 mm aggregate are suitable. And in fact, 20 mm aggregates are the most widely used ones, and I even use them the most in almost all sort of works. At number six, it says that when there's no restriction to flow of concrete, up to 40 mm aggregates are also allowed. So for example, for isolated footings, or you could say for retaining walls, when there's no flow of concrete, all right, it means that we have to pour concrete from vertically above the member. So for example, for isolated footings or for piles, you can even use up to 40 mm aggregates. And at number seven, it says that in concrete elements with thin sections and a closely spaced reinforcement or small cover, consideration should be given to the use of 10 mm nominal maximum size. For closely spaced reinforcements, for example in beams, and for small covers, and for thin sections, 10 mm aggregates are suitable. But again, it depends on the situation. We can't, this thing can't be generally said. It depends on the element and the type of memory we're talking about. But as a reference, as a guide, it's written in IS 456. All of this data is from IS 456. So as a general guide, when there's closely spaced reinforcements and there's a small cover and we have very thin sections, 10 mm aggregates would be suitable for such situations. And then at number 8, it says that plums above 160 mm and up to any reasonable size may be used in plain concrete work up to a maximum limit of 20% by volume of concrete, when specifically permitted by the engineer in charge. The plums shall be distributed evenly and should not be closer than 150 mm from the surface. So plums are big rocks or big aggregates, the one shown in the second picture, all right? So these are plums. So it says that they should not be more than 160 mm in size, and they shouldn't be more than 20% of the volume of concrete. And at the same time, it says that they should not be closer than 150 mm from the surface. All right, so these are three specific points to plums, and plums, they're referring to huge huge aggregates, all right? In simple words, big sized aggregates. That's what plumbs are. And finally, the last point we have is for heavily reinforced concrete members, as in the case of ribs of main beams, the nominal maximum size of the aggregate should be usually restricted to 5 mm less than the minimum clear distance between the main bars, or 5 mm less than the minimum cover to the reinforcement. For example, we have a member which has a 20 mm cover installed on it. So the size of the aggregate should be restricted to less than 5 mm of that. Alright, so it means that for a 20 mm cover, the aggregate should not at all be more than 15 mm. Similarly, for the distance between the bars, they're usually about 10 centimeters or something, 10 millimeters or something like that, or usually about 20 centimeters. So we could say that the minimum aggregates and the maximum aggregates in that should be less than 5 mm, which is 15. So that's what they're referring for, so that the spaces between the rebars and the space between the exterior cover and the rebars. I hope you guys are getting my whatever I'm saying. The space between the rebars, they're not they're not left empty. We want the aggregates to reach that small spaces. So that's why they're restricting the size to less than 5 mm of that distance. These were 9 sort of thumb rules for aggregates in construction, and all of them are based on IS 456-2000. This was another very short topic and a short video on aggregates and their simple thumb rules which every supervisor must follow on site. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I hope you guys learned something from it.